You've heard stories about haunted houses, but what if a house didn't just haunt you? What if it took you piece by piece until there was nothing left? This is the terrifying story of the house that takes, a place where reality twists, memories fade, and escape is impossible. I don't believe in ghosts. I never have. That's what I kept telling myself as I stood outside that house, staring up at its rotting facade. The Montgomery estate had been sitting on the market for over 50 years. A beautiful Victorian mansion, 3 stories tall, with a grand wraparound porch and stained glass windows. Or at least, it used to be. Now, it was just another decaying ruin, swallowed by overgrown ivy and time. No one wanted it. No one dared touch it. Except me. I'm a real estate agent. Selling houses is my job, and I've sold plenty of them. Abandoned ones, foreclosed ones, even a house where a murder-suicide happened. Nothing fazed me. A property is just wood, stone, and history, and I was damn good at flipping history into profit. So when my firm offered me the Montgomery estate, I jumped at the chance. If I could sell a place like this, the most infamous haunted house in the county, I'd have my pick of high-end properties to list. I wasn't afraid, not yet. But the moment I stepped onto the front porch, that changed. The air was different here, heavier, like stepping into an unseen pressure. The wood beneath my feet groaned as if it didn't want me there. The windows, dark and lifeless, felt like eyes, watching me. I gripped the old brass doorknob and turned. The doors swung open before I even pushed, like the house had been expecting me. I stepped inside. The air was thick, stale, carrying the scent of dust, old wood, and something else, something faintly rotting. Footsteps echoed through the grand foyer. A massive chandelier hung above, its crystals coated in cobwebs. The floor was black and white tile, cracked and uneven, leading to a grand staircase that curved up into darkness. The house was silent, too silent. I'd been inside plenty of abandoned buildings before, but there was always some kind of noise. Wind rattling a window, floorboards creaking, distant water dripping. But here, nothing. I took another step, and the silence swallowed the sound. I pulled out my phone, snapping a few pictures for the listing. The screen glitched, static lines tearing through the image before it froze completely. Dead. That didn't make sense. My battery was at 80% when I walked in. I sighed and shoved the phone back in my pocket. Just an old house. Just bad luck. But then I heard it. A whispered, so soft. I almost thought I imagined it. Then again. A breath of sound, curling around my ears. I turned sharply, scanning the dim hallway behind me. Empty. The dust on the floor was undisturbed. No footprints but my own. I shook my head. Just the wind. Just my imagination. But I didn't believe that. Not anymore. I forced myself to keep moving. I wasn't going to be scared off by shadows and dead batteries. I needed photos. Measurements. A selling plan. I stepped into the main hallway, lined with tall, wooden doors. Most were shut, but one at the end was slightly ajar. From inside, a soft light flickered, like the glow of a candle. I didn't remember turning on any lights. I should have left. Instead, I walked toward the door. It creaked open as I reached for it. The room beyond was a study, filled with floor-to-ceiling bookshelves. Dust motes floated lazily in the dim light of an old-fashioned oil lamp, sitting atop a massive wooden desk. The chair behind it was turned away. The hair on my arms stood up. The lamp shouldn't have been on. There was no electricity, and I wasn't alone. A soft rustling came from behind the chair. I swallowed, forcing my voice to stay steady. Hello? No response. I stepped closer, gripping the edge of the desk, and slowly turned the chair around. Empty. But on the desk, neatly stacked, was a pile of old photographs, and on top, A picture of me, standing in the foyer, wearing these exact clothes, holding my phone. The photo was old, yellowed, curled at the edges. But it was me. I staggered back, my breath catching in my throat. My hands were shaking as I picked up the next photo. It was still me, but this time I was at the top of the stairs. Another me, standing outside the house, staring up at it. Each picture older than the last. Each picture proving I had been here before. I didn't remember that, but the house did. I dropped the photos. They fluttered to the desk like dead leaves, their edges curling, as if the house was breathing through them. I turned, moving fast, too fast. My vision blurred, my legs weakened. The air around me felt heavier, thicker, as though the house itself was wrapping around my chest, squeezing, pulling. I stumbled into the hallway, gripping the wall for balance. I needed to leave. Now I reached the front door and grabbed the handle. It twisted easily, too easily, and the door swung open. I stepped outside and found myself back in the foyer. The front door was still shut. I hadn't moved at all. No, that was impossible. I turned around, grabbed the handle again, and yanked. The door flung open, and again, I was still inside. My breath came faster. My skin prickled with a deep, primal wrongness. The house wouldn't let me leave. And then, the whispers came again. But this time, they were louder. I spun around. A shadow moved at the top of the stairs. It was me. I was standing there, staring down at myself. But my face was emptied and no eyes, no mouth, just a hollow, waiting thing. I opened my mouth to scream, and the lights went out. Darkness swallowed the house. I couldn't see my hands. I couldn't see the walls, but I could hear breathing. Not mine. The sound was everywhere, slow, deep, and human. The air thickened, pressing against my skin like unseen hands. I had to move. Had to find a way out. I reached for my phone, dead. I fumbled blindly, feeling my way along the wall, my heartbeat hammering in my ears. Then a light, flickering, weak, coming from the study. I didn't want to go back in there, but I had no choice. I stepped inside, the glow of the oil lamp casting long, twisting shadows. The chair behind the desk was turned away again. Something was sitting in it now. The chair creaked as it began to turn. I braced myself, but there was no thing in the chair. There was me, older, drained, my skin paper thin, stretched tight over bone. My eyes were wrong, empty pools of black, reflecting nothing. And when it smiled, I knew the truth. I had been here before. I had tried to leave before, and each time, the house took a little more of me. I stumbled back, my breath shallow, ragged. The thing in the chair, the older version of me, just kept smiling, like it knew something I didn't, like it was waiting. My legs trembled, but I forced myself to move. I wouldn't let this happen. I wouldn't become that. I ran, out of the study, up the stairs. Somewhere in my mind, I knew it was the wrong way, but the house twisted my thoughts, pulling me deeper. The hallway upstairs was longer than it should have been. The doors stretched on forever, their brass handles gleaming in the dim, sickly light. Behind me, I heard the sound of bare feet on wood. Slow, deliberate, coming closer. I reached a door at the end of the hall. Old, ornate, carved with swirling patterns. Something about it felt different. My fingers brushed the knob, and the whisper stopped. The breathing stopped. For the first time since I arrived, the house was silent. My pulse thundered in my ears. I turned the handle. The door swung open. Inside, a mirror, nothing else. Just a tall, blackened mirror standing in the center of the empty room. And in its reflection, the house was new. The chandelier gleamed. The floors shined. The wallpaper was rich and untouched. The house was alive in a way I had never seen before, and in the center of the reflection, I stood there, but not as I was now. I was younger, healthier, dressed differently, a different year, a different time, and I knew this was the first time I had come here. This was how it had started. The house had taken me once. It was taking me again, and next time, I wouldn't remember at all. I took a step toward the mirror. My reflection didn't move. It just stood there, watching. Something in my chest tightened, a feeling like deja vu, like I had been here before and was just now remembering it. The house wanted me to step forward. To cross the threshold. To start again. I tried to pull away, tried to fight the pull in my bones, but my legs wouldn't move. My breath shallowed. My vision blurred at the edges. The house was taking me, erasing me. I opened my mouth to scream, but a hand grabbed my shoulder. I spun around. No one was there. But in the hallway, something had changed. The wallpaper was newer. The lights were brighter. The house had reset. And I couldn't remember why I was afraid. I turned back to the mirror. The reflection was gone. Only the empty room stared back at me. I didn't know why I had come here, but I had work to do. I pulled out my phone, opened my camera, and took a picture of the grand, restored hallway. A perfect listing photo. I smiled. This house was going to sell fast. If you found this story chilling, let me know in the comments. Would you ever step inside a house like this? Or have you ever been somewhere that just felt wrong? Don't forget to like and subscribe for more terrifying tales, because sometimes the scariest places are the ones we don't remember leaving.